I generally don't think it's a case of we don't have the numbers.
No, definitely not. You look at a small area like between Real Prestatyn and Wrexham, the quality of player that's come from that area.
But that's what I think. I just think they sort of need, if they want to promote football, I do know a stat that more minor sports are actually becoming more popular, like the parkour and all that sort of stuff. That's become popular.
Olympic breakdance.
Football sort of state level. We know it's the most popular sport in the world, but other sports are taken off, maybe because they're different, they're new and exciting, maybe because there's new facilities. Yeah. Football's just on a grass. Anyone can kick a ball on a grass. Yes, you can. But
you should see me, lad.
When have we had a nice football pitch? Like we've seen some Welsh Premier League pitches. When have they looked?
Well, this is the point I was going to make.
I've got one here. Sorry, I remember watching a Bala Town game. It was on S4C, and the midline, so where they would take the balls to kick off, wasn't even straight. It was just curvy.
Still can't stop Chris Venables, though, can it?
Stop having to go at the groundsman. They work hard at Myers Taggart. Come on.
That sort of thing to me isn't good enough, and it doesn't matter. That's not the Welsh FA's fault. That's Bala Town getting that wrong and being like, "What are you doing? Like, get back out there. We want to look professional."
I think it does come down to the FAW, though. I think COVID and everything.
The clubs need to be more strict and be like, "No, we're a professional club. That line needs to be straight." That's a joke.
Well, that's the thing. They're not professional clubs, are they?
Yeah,
I think the issue is twofold, really.
Sorry, and I know a lot of volunteers for the clubs as well. I know Welsh Premier League get a lot of volunteers, and yes, thank you to all of them for what they do. But
you shit.
Like, honestly, when I saw that line, I laughed because it was just embarrassing. And just like explaining that point now, like, you don't realise how annoyed you are at something just so simple.
Yeah.
And just making a club look more professional. There you go. Let's just have a wobbly line.
I don't know. I mean, I think it does come down a lot to the FAW and everything because you've got to go for a top-down approach. Really. If you want your leagues to look professional and everything, you have to give them the support, don't you? I think the COVID-19 sort of situation has proven the disparity, not so much the FAW, but the Welsh government as well, how they view the priorities, because I think the WRU got a lot of handouts basically for everything that happened in between. But the Welsh, you look at we talk about the Welsh Premier League. Well, if you go lower, those leagues just got cancelled and nulled and voided and everything. You've got really historic teams like Real going under and everything like that. And it goes to show, I think it is something to do with the higher, the higher ranking officials and everything. Yeah. Because if you want, people to have respect for the league and everything, then you've got to respect your own league, haven't you?
Yes.
This is the thing for me. You've both summed it up exactly there. There's 2 points that, need to be addressed. Why can't we have a professional football league in Wales? That's
absolutely no reason why we can't.
That's one of the main things that's going to raise the infrastructure around the country in terms of training facilities, that trickles down through the academies to the club teams to the schools, etc. And then the problem is you have kids growing up wanting to play in the Premier League because that's the big professional league. There is no reason to say we can't have the Welsh Premier League on par with something like the SPL, decent sized professional league. You can have a team or two maybe getting into European competition, having a bit of a run 1 or 2 years, but that in turn, that's going to increase the standard of the international players going through. You're going to have better sides, better competition, things like that. But like you said as well, it's the funding. You said about the WRU, there was 17 point something million made available by the Welsh government for funding sports over COVID, bailout, pandemic money, whatever you want to call it. Can't remember the name of the loans. 14.5 million went to the WRU out of 17.5 million. So that leaves 3 million to go between the other sports. I know ice hockey got a fairly big chunk because the Cardiff Devils were massive for revenue and that.
Yes.
That's between 4 professional football teams and the Welsh Premier League as well. I think they probably got 1.5 million, 2 million. Yeah. That's absolutely crazy. They throw in that much money at the WRU for the loss of the crowd over the Six Nations. WRU's fine. They've got the bloody rugby sevens players contracts anyway, so they're not getting any money.
I'm not
We're not
sure.
big rugby
already-
fans. It's not like us slagging
Yeah.
rugby or WRU or anything.
But that's the thing, is the
They-
cash cow for the Welsh government. They know it's one of the biggest tourist attractions. So Wales playing at the Millennium Stadium. Think how much money that brings into the city for tourism. You're gonna put a bubble around that and try and protect that. They just haven't given a shit about.
But it also comes
Especially
down to
Welsh Premier League and lower the whole time.
It comes down to North Wales getting shafted as well,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
the WRU, where is it based and everything, you know? And,
All
you
four
know,
regions,
exactly,
all based in
and
South Wales.
the
3 of the 4
majority-
professional clubs based in South Wales. Just Wrexham didn't even get the money, did they?
No, they didn't get nothing, I don't think.
So-
But
All
look at-
the English teams did. Wales. No.
I think Wrexham didn't get it off the National League, but they
Just,
got it off
yeah,
the
the
Welsh
National League
government.
one.
Sorry,
right.
that was it.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yes.
But no, you
Sorry,
look
Mark
at you look
Drakeford.
at
Sorry,
the,
just got a quick question. Am I right in saying TNS, the new Saints, are the only full professional side in
I think so.
Think
Yeah,
so.
Premier League?
I think so.
I think that's still the way, isn't it?
Does anybody remember when they were Total Network Solutions?
What's that? Sorry.
I remember them being. I remember hearing them being called it, like hearing about them, but
Til-
they're from
Tilted Network
Shropshire, as far as
Solutions.
I'm concerned. So
Yeah.
I also think like this is one I've. Sorry, we could have a whole podcast on this. You don't realize how many
Yeah.
interesting
Bitch,
points
have.
we're
It's-
talking on, but I always think the advertising as well. If you go anywhere, it is unlikely you will see Bangor, Prestatyn, Neath, Llanelli. I'm just throwing teams out there.
Oh God, the way you pronounce
of
Llanelli made me want to vomit. Then,
Yeah, sorry, my accent's not great. Voice isn't
being
great.
very picky.
But you go to a pub and they won't be on. You have to ask for it, which is great when it's on. But yeah, is there something there we could do?
Well,
Maybe.
it
Well,
might
I'm
be
not being
because they only
funny, like,
televise the games on
it's
S4C,
a hard
don't
one
they?
because
If
I
they
think
could put it on BBC
But the
Two
coverage-
Wales
the
as well.
coverage from
or something.
Scoria
No, the
is
coverage is great. I'm not
outstanding, isn't it?
berating that.
And
Yeah.
you look at
like-
you look at
I
the
just-
Euros this year on S4C. The quality of the coverage has been so much better than the BBC.
Yeah,
Cutting to England shit and everything in the middle of the halftime stuff. Ridiculous.
yeah, I think a lot of it can come down to advertising as well. I don't know how good the advertising is. I really
Listen,
don't.
Wales
I
as a
think
nation.
that sort of says, sorry, Sam.
Wait,
I
go on.
think us not really knowing much about the advertising sort of sums up their advertising. Like, it's not like every day you see S4C, bang, bang. We don't even get mentioned on Sky Sports.
Yeah,
Same
no,
with
I-
Northern Ireland.
Table goes around, but they don't
actually
talk about it.
we don't talk around it because it doesn't make money.
It flashes up on the screen every
It'll be on the screen,
25,
but
30 minutes,
there's
however
no
long it
sort
takes
of,
the tables to go around. But
mention there, but like Wales don't have a chat show or little things around that
Right.
because it doesn't bring income.
Listen, I mean, Wales as a nation has always struggled with self-confidence, isn't it? With
Yes.
picking itself
We're a
up
small nation.
and exactly. And at the end of the day, I think a massive part of this, when we're talking about grassroots football and everything, and rugby included, is the fact that we're just not connected north to south. There's
No.
there's all roads point to England, literally, you know.
Yes.
And for that reason, how can you possibly, we have a North and a South Wales league, the lower
Yeah.
down you go. And in the Cymru Premier and everything, it's Haverfordwest is South Wales. Who else? Llanelli
Barry.
are they still in it? No, they're not.
Yeah,
Barry Town.
Barry
He
Town.
said Llanelli made me sick.
Llanelli, boy. Llanelli.
boys.
But yeah, there you go. I mean,
Alfred Llanelli.
it goes to show. I think if we had the infrastructure
And
to
Newtown,
have
South Wales team as well.
Newtown's sort of north
West
to mid,
Wales.
north to, no, it's in the east, isn't it? It's like mid-east
Oh, is
Wales,
it?
I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.